Hello everyone, Mike Starks with Remax Town and Country here with the third quarter real estate report for Fredericksburg and Gillespie County. And it's hard to believe that we're 3/4 away through the year already, but it's just been such a crazy year. And I can tell you the real estate market has certainly followed along with being crazy. And by that I mean crazy busy. So as usual, just to get straight to the numbers, one really telling number to illustrate just how crazy things have gotten. So for the third quarter of 2019, we'd set an all-time record with $76 million in total sales for Gillespie County. But in the third quarter of this year, we sold a whopping $135 million. So that's a huge 44.6% increase in the total dollars sold. And that increase was also seen in the number of properties sold. Again, comparing 2019's third quarter, we'd sold 157 properties. Third quarter of 2020, we've sold 237 properties. So again, huge increase, 42.6% in the number of properties sold. And for anyone who watched it back when I did my mid-year report, I'd mentioned that April and May were pretty quiet this year with the virus and the lockdowns, but despite that, I thought we would really likely end up with a record year just because of folks wanting to get out of the bigger cities. And I can tell you that prediction has certainly come true. In 2019, for the entire year, we'd sold total dollar sales at $256 million for the county. And this year, we're already at $264 million in total sales for the county. And we still have 3 months to go. And, I really don't see it slowing down in the near future. So let's move on to in-town home sales within the city limits of Fredericksburg. In 2019, all of 2019, we'd sold right at about $100 million of homes in town. And right now, as of September 30th, we're already at $95 million in total sales for in-town homes. So no doubt in-town home sales will likely set a record this year as well. And, of course, with the big demand, we've seen prices continue to rise at a pretty rapid rate this year. As of September 30th, the average home price in Fredericksburg city limits was $443,187. You compare that to 2019 when we ended the year at $390,150. So that's up like 12%. Now, I talk about this every time. When you're looking at the average price of homes, you really got to examine the cost per square foot as well, because just because we saw a 12% increase in the average home price, a lot of that is a reflection that just larger homes have sold. Because when you compare the square foot pricing, in 2019, we ended the year with $213.62 per foot for the average price of a home. And at the end of the third quarter of 2020, the average price per foot was $230.42. So that's a 7.3% increase. Still a hefty increase, but it's a little better than that double-digit appreciation, which would just be really hard to sustain. And that 7% increase, it's just not helping with affordability. For sure, but as I've pointed out in the past, a trip to the grocery store is up 70% from last year or two, and that's just due to the fact that we just keep devaluing our dollar. But let's talk about land sales and homes on acreage, because this is what's really been on fire this year. Just to start with the raw land sales, again, just so you have something to compare to, in 2019, we'd sold a total of 3,512 acres of raw land in Gillespie County. As of September 30 of this year, we've already sold 4,998 acres, so that's about a 30% jump in just the number of acres that have been sold. The average price per acre, that's held relatively stable. We're at $12,183 per acre, although I would guess with demand staying high, we'll probably see that number start to rise in the next year. And when you're talking about the average price per acre, a lot of that depends on the size of the acreage you're talking about. So just to give everyone an average price per acre for different size tracts. As of September 30th, third quarter, this year, a 1 to 5 acre tract is averaging $62,011 per acre. 6 to 10 acre tracts, $25,594 per acre. 11 to 25 acre tracts are at $15,812 per acre. 26 to 50 acre tracts, $11,885. 50 to 100 acre tracts, $15,206. That's a little abnormally high, but they had a couple really pretty tracts that sold this year. Then 100 to 250 acres, we're averaging $9,401 per acre. And if you jump up over 250 acres, the average is $8,413 per acre. And while I'm thinking about it, you can get a lot of different numbers depending on who you ask about the price per acre. For instance, if I took all the sales for 11 to 25 acre tracts this year, we'd be more like that 31,000 per acre on average. But in the last few years, I've been pulling out sales of land along 290 East out of my averages, just because we're seeing $50,000 to $70,000 an acre out there, just depending on where on 290 it's located. So I haven't been including that in my stats because I really see that more as like commercial sales nowadays, and it really skews the numbers. Same thing on like the 1 to 10 acre tracts out at Boot Ranch. I pull those out of my averages just because it's such a unique setup out there. It messes with the averages of everybody else. But anyway, let's talk about homes on acreage. To go back to the comparison model, in all of 2019, we'd sold 102 homes on acreage in Gillespie County. So far this year, we're already there. We're at 102 home sales on acreage. With 3 months to go, I'm sure we'll be setting a record with homes on acreage as well. Total dollar sales is much higher this year. For the first 3 quarters of this year, we're already at $76 million in total sales, and you compare that to all of 2019, we were only at $65 million. So that's about a 15% increase in the total dollars sold in just the first 3 quarters of this year compared to all of last year. Now, I'd point out that 15% increase in total dollar sales, while we still had the same number of properties sold, doesn't necessarily mean that homes on acreage are up 15%. Unlike in-town homes where everybody has more or less of a city lot, it's almost impossible to figure out exactly what the average home on acreage price is doing as a whole, because you have to factor in, maybe all the houses last year were more like 10 acres and all the houses this year are 90 acres. Did one have a view? Did one have a creek? So for all homes on acreage, you really have to examine those kind of on a case-by-case basis, because it's just hard to look at an overall average. So I don't have an exact appreciation rate on that, but I can say it's certainly up. And I think the word up will be used a lot in the year-end report as well, because I think whichever way the election goes, the desire for folks to get out of the big city will continue. The virus has made people want to slow down, enjoy their life with their family a little more. So I really think we'll end with a strong year. So that's my third quarter report for 2020. You can get all these stats and more at my site at mikestarks.com. And thanks for watching.